evening and welcome back to my dwarven fortress of Keskalokil, which is somewhere, sorry I've lost it on my desktops, there it is. You could see it all along, of course. Where last session we built, you can see it slowly wandering around the screen here, it's disappeared, a minecart track, well, a tunnel at least, all the way from the magma sea to the surface. It still has several flaws. In particular, there are some gaps in the track work and some bits where the water's leaking in a bit more than I would like. But it's almost finished. In particular, one problem that I think I took the wrong approach to is that when we're penetrating an aquifer, we really need... So the way that ramps work in Dwarf Fortress is that you have one square that is nominally an upward slope, and that works usefully if one of the squares adjacent to it on the same level is a wall of some sort, and above that wall there's an empty space. So for instance here we have an upward slope, there's a wall here, and above the wall is, well, it's an upward slope, but the point is it's not a solid wall, and so that then automatically forms a ramp up from there to there. But the problem is that that wall will still leak water if it's part of an aquifer, but if we demolish that wall then that ramp will stop working, and suddenly my long up and down tunnel becomes separately long up tunnel and a long down tunnel, and people can't get between them. And what I think I should have done is made the aquifer piercing bits 2 squares wide so that I didn't sever the entire thing when I dug out that square. But I didn't think to do that, and now I've built most of the stuff around it that I would have to demolish if I wanted to fix it. So I think I don't want to try to like redo this in a different way, but it is a bit of a pain, really. So I still need to dig out this wall and put this sandstone natural rock wall and replace it with an properly engineered sandstone block wall. Even a rough sandstone block wall would still not leak water, I believe. And so the other slightly dodgy thing is that we don't have all of the track carved properly yet. And I'm not quite sure why that is. And there is a bit of a problem that the free version of Dwarf Fortress Cobaltite track doesn't seem to mark pending track carving jobs. And there's something weird going on at the junction between the laid track, the constructed track up here, which is copper track constructed out of copper, and the carved tracks further down. The transition between them doesn't quite seem to have worked. So that's still all laid copper track. That's laid copper track. That's laid copper track. And then that carved track is like doesn't connect eastwards, even though that track connects westwards, and I can't seem to work out how to make it connect eastwards. Maybe I need to demolish, maybe I need to remove the constructed track and then lay the carved track underneath it. Let's try that. I can't remember if I tried that yesterday, Friday. Though there's a possibility that this will oh, that's fine. There's a possibility this will deconstruct the ramps, and we've been complaining about the way that deconstructing things in this tunnel suddenly makes it impossible to get from one end to the other. So let's actually not do it in that order, since we're not even in an aquifer here. Let's Okay, we will be in an aquifer up here. Tough. Let's do this properly. I've only slightly built the things already up here. Let's clear that out. And then in particular, we can also, since we haven't actually fully sealed this layer, let's also clear some of this layer as well, and let's make that one passable. And actually we haven't done the same here. I'm going to do this how I should have done it, even though it'll take a little bit of time. Let's just build a maintenance track alongside the railway here. Okay, that's kind of alarming. Damn it, you got stuck in a tree, didn't you? Stop getting stuck in trees, you people. There's an agitated giant roach who appeared. Okay, possibly you didn't get stuck in a tree. Possibly you managed to get killed by an agitated giant roach. But you do look like you're stuck in a tree to me. All right, no, you're not the dead one. You're still alive. You're still in a tree. Stabbing this giant roach that's attacking you. I mean, I'm impressed by that, really, because the giant roach is flying. I keep worrying that the game may not have an accurate grasp of insect anatomy. Like, do they really have ligaments? On the other hand, I suppose giant roaches probably have to evolve a bunch of extra structures that work properly at mammal type sizes anyway. Well, you seem to be doing pretty well there, really. The fact that you're up a tree is not, as far as I can tell, crimping your style significantly, but I might have to work out how to get you out of that tree later. You also appear to be sharing a square with 2 cats, you strange person. Neither of which is your pet. All right, yes.
Cats will happily, sit on any available lap, so.
Yes. So, yes. Okay, we'll leave that. Oh no, the Spearmaster has managed to get out of the tree. The cats haven't, but like that's standard. Oh no, what? Yes. That's kind of standard cat behaviour anyway. Let me drink some more tea while we wait for this. I think a dwarf is on their way to demolish this pillar because I've changed my mind about where it should be. Possibly what it should be. Actually, that means we also need to widen it up here, don't we? There's no aquifers up here, so I think we just need to go like that, and then like that. We're going to need to build some ramps as well, but that's fine. looks like given sheep versus a giant roach, the sheep does better too. They're not actually very scary. Oh, let's have a quick peer at the butchery situation. I bet we're butchering things we don't want to. Right, I don't really mind if we accidentally butcher a few things that are uninteresting. Just like if we can try to keep the things that we butcher to ones that someone might actually want bones from. Why did we have a stray bull anyway? What were we doing killing a stray bull? That's just weird. I mean, it's not weird, but I'm slightly surprised I didn't catch it. I suspect that paw is too small to be butchered at all. Why was I doing that while paused? I was doing it while waiting. Oh, right. No, most of this stuff has now been dug out. Slightly surprisingly for that damp pillar. All right, that's coming out now. Is that a horse? It is a horse. How unusual. Oh, I'm suffering from up and down confusion. Right, so we have ramps on both sides here. So that's nice. But there still seems to be a floor here. Oh, because there's a pending construction there. Cancel that construction. Dig through the floor there. Right. So now we have two ramps here. We are lacking a ramp there because I've already gone and built a wall there. So let's build a ramp there instead. A constructed ramp. And then we can safely wall some of this in. I think we should probably up here be building things out of blocks rather than loose stone. I'll leave the middle one because if we do that first we'll block the top left corner. So here that will turn into a downward ramp. Then we're going to want an upward ramp there. We'll want an upward ramp there as well. How did I accidentally... Oh, yes. Oh, do we? No, that one doesn't need an upward ramp because it's not damp up here. So that's just where the maintenance track ends. Right, so now we just need some building to get done here. Okay, that was actually not very painful to like dismantle and turn into something less irritating. Is this then the other end of the maintenance track? Yes, it kind of is. Sparse underlichen. How odd. I don't think we've seen that plant before. And we will now be getting, now that we've finally found a non-sterile cavern layer, we'll be getting mosses and such growing. And there's a danger of even getting entire trees growing up here underground.
Underlichen is an assistant to a master lichen.
Yes, it's possible that indeed an underlichen is an assistant to a master lichen. Oh, it's the start of a new year. Maybe that's time for a biscuit. Right, biscuit done. What's going on here? It's the usual first day of the year and several animals drop dead. Why do they always drop dead on the 1st of Granite? It's very silly.
Is this some kind of weird way of dealing with animal ages?
Yes. They all seem to have a scheduled death date of the 1st of January, or 1st of Granite, sorry. Yes, possibly Granuary. Oh, I should have kept that list of deaths so I could track down the bodies. Though, well, actually, no, that one's not relevant. That one's relevant. Can't immediately see any more there. Seems to be a good year for dead turkeys. I think that's all of them. Okay, yes, quite a lot of dead turkeys, in fact. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I found at least 3. Oh, there are 2 more. Right, well, that's quite a lot of dead creatures marked for dumping. I missed any, I wonder. Just wander around a few more levels. There's a dead turkey. The sea is comprehensively full of dead dwarves and goblins, but we can't do much about that. I think those are just oysters. Yes. Right. So how are we doing down here then? Right, so now we have parallel ramps, which means we can safely render one of them unusable at a time in order to seal off the aquifer. I think essentially all of the sandy clay loam wants replacing. So let's dig out the sandy clay loam around the new ramp first. Okay, that ramp, we don't even seem to have a ramp scheduled for construction there. Let's put one in. I feel I shouldn't be building these out of interestingly coloured blocks, but that means I keep having to go a long way down the list to find something to build with. Oh no, we can't reach those while, yeah, stoats. My ability to understand dwarven building requirements is confused. We have to demolish those two because there's a hole in the floor. Oh dear, and it's an enormous vile force of darkness. Right, well, let's close the west gate. Is there anyone outside the west gate? Oh, let's not close the west gate until the tribute has made it in. And then we can close it before we tell the dwarves that we don't like dwarves, goblins, that we don't like them. Where's the west gate lever? Must be around somewhere, surely. There we go. This is likely to be a bit dramatic because there's an enormous pile of old goblin armour lying around. Oops, actually no, that was what I wanted, because I wanted to find the report to see what we've got delivered. Speechless Diamond have provided us with 5 prepared kangaroo spleen, 2 alpaca wool shoes, 1 sheep wool yarn, and 1 silver bar, or bars, 1 pallet of silver bars, or whatever units they come in.
I mean, 2 shoes,
That's quite sensible, yes. Better than your typical moody dwarf who makes you 1 glove. I'm going to wait for this gate to close, which it should do quite dramatically. There it goes. Whee! Armour all over the place. Right, so that's the door gate closed. Only some of the armour fell in the river. Let's now tell the goblins what we think of them. And then summon some soldiers, since we're not planning on having this on anyone falling in the river. We'll just get everyone to about there. Actually, no, that's unwise. Let's move them to somewhere a bit off axis, so that when the goblins come through, at least the first 6 of them can fall into the cage traps. So the goblins definitely think that this is the place to be. So they've just brought goblins this time, it looks like. Obviously, as the goblins start managing to climb the wall, then we should arrange that there are dwarves to meet them on the other side. So I think we've had indications that the goblins are willing to climb over the wall in the past. And obviously if they do that, then we can pick them off as they come down. If they don't, then I'll wait until we've got a decent mob of dwarves on this side. Is this oh right, those are some trained giant hamsters. Okay. Well, they might have some fun with the goblins, I suppose. We could. Oh yes, we probably haven't yet got any actual adult war leopards, have we? I think as yet we have some leopard cubs, but they are not grown up yet. Yes. And while the adult leopards are trained for war, I would prefer not to lose our breeding stock of them. Now, let's not try to actually engage leopards and goblins this week.
If a goblin got engaged to a leopard, I think the phrase "safely married" would not be appropriate.
We only appear to have like 6 or 7 dwarves in place at the moment. This is an unhelpful number. Where are the rest? I'm fairly sure we've got more dwarves assigned to things than that. I mean, okay, maybe not. Maybe the fact that we only have 55 dwarves in total is a bit of a problem. Which is part of why we probably need to build a system to flood the world with magma. Or at least the world outside the walls with magma. Though that would have the problem that the magma would then fall into the river and freeze into obsidian, and then the dwarves would the goblins would just be able to walk across. Seven dwarves, which, while a standard number of dwarves, is also fewer than I would like. See how many I'm hoping for. Hoping for 1, 2, actually it's 10 per page, isn't it? 10, 20. I'm hoping for about 25, which seems like a good number. It does appear to be taking them quite a lot of effort. I'm very confused with this because I was thinking, oh, spattered with giant's blood. Does that mean that Dusim Edudoren is a giant? But no, that's definitely a cat. No, this is splattered with a cat who has somehow got splattered with giant blood.
Maybe the cat got into a fight with the giant,
And
a couple of good bites, and then spectacularly lost.
yes, I think it's possible. Just marking a few more things for dumping so that they don't get butchered too enthusiastically, or in many cases so that because they're completely unbutcherable and are just clogging up the stockpile. Then we can get back to doing something useful, or at least interesting. Right. Still not a very useful number of dwarves. Yeah, I think an awful lot of them are still on pick up equipment and get provisions and generally get their soldierly arses into gear. Right. Well, we'll wait a bit longer then. While keeping half an eye on the goblins who might at some point get bored and try to work out how to get in. Like, they could try leaping across the river. That would be amusing. Or that river. Indeed, has something bad happened to you? Yes, it has, but it didn't involve goblins. It involved a giant roach, apparently. Okay. Well, maybe someone will come and rescue you in a bit. So, like, I want to wait until at least most of the active military dwarves are up here rather than still trying to find their shoes. The fact that we have, like, quite a lot of giant hamsters up here is a bit confusing to me, but do they, like, have a nearby owner or something? Is there someone here who loves giant hamsters? Doesn't look like it. I think the giant hamsters have just decided to come along for the experience or something. Goblin's getting close to the river. Go on, fall in the river. Oh, someone's decided it's time to have a strange mood. Oh yes, while this is happening, how's our building work going? And we want, let's do the same thing here and dig. Right, so those have now been filled in. If we dig round there, then we can sort out that ramp properly. A few more dwarves turning up. How many are still picking up equipment? It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, plus the ones filling water skins. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Right, we've still got about 11 dwarves trying to get themselves organised. The goblins are forming a large mob. As though they're eyeing up the river again. Not sure. Maybe they're eyeing up the river again. Maybe they're daring one another to have a go at jumping it. No, you go first. After you. And then some of the dwarves go, oh no, I need to go to sleep now. That's fine. I will accept that some of the military dwarves will be asleep. As long as we can get the ones that aren't asleep here, that will be quite sufficient, I expect. Four, five. Oh, only 5 of them still getting their arses into gear, and about 5 asleep. But that's fine. What's that capital B? Oh, it's a giant wild boar. Excellent. And we need to organise more captured animals as well. Those are still waiting to be built. Not accidentally suspended. Good. One's apparently got goblin blood down here as well. Three dwarves still getting their arses into gear. That's probably a reasonable number to go. Come on, they only got 3 to wait for. Let's be patient. Let's not have the number of dwarves here any fewer than the minimal than it has to be. Whatever, I don't know. Did I spot a dead animal there? No, we do appear to have a fair amount of blood leaking in here, though, which is a bit unfortunate. Right, so now we can install a wall there, and it's safe to dig out that section because that ramp now works properly. Similarly, it's safe to dig out that section because that ramp now works properly and will keep working. Right. Two dwarves still picking up equipment. Yeah, you really aren't properly dressed yet, are you? Also, I bet you did this in an inefficient order. You wrote yourself a to-do list, and then you went around the stockpiles collecting things in the order they were written on your shopping list, didn't you? You dried off pretty quickly after going through that waterfall. Now you're going to go all the way back down. once you've worked out how.
I once had a problem at work where we wanted to have a thing a bit like the travelling salesman problem, only reversing the criteria. We were trying to change step to a multi-dimensional space, changing as many components as possible in every step. I called it the confused salesman algorithm. Except that wasn't quite what we wanted. It turned out to be quite difficult to get the thing we did want.
What are you going to look for now? I mean, it looks like you're pretty well dressed now. You've got a weapon, you've got a shield, you've got some boots, a steel mail shirt, some gauntlets, some leggings.
Best dressed dwarven soldier. 118.
But you are still looking for something else. What is it? Is it a backpack with some food in it? Are you then going to insist on going and getting some food? Ah, you didn't have a helm. Ah, but the backpack's already got food in, and so you are going to be to your station, right? So, did the other one manage to achieve that as well while we were watching? No, someone is still collecting some provisions to put in their backpack. I think, yes, you've only got one carrot seed roast, which is obviously not enough for going out and slaughtering the goblin hordes. No, we need multiple food. We have to get it by descending all the way down here. Because obviously the actually sensible food stockpile is too easy to get to. Plus we can find precisely our favourite food here. Right, we have a quarry bush leaf roast and are now on the way to the surface to engage the goblin horde, who I hope are still there. Right, goblin horde on one side of the wall, dwarven horde mostly organised on the other side of the wall. Let us open the gate and see how this goes. No hurry. Okay, dwarven horde and a bunch of giant hamsters. And a kiwi. Don't think the kiwi is going to be very scary. Not sure the giant hamsters are going to be very scary, to be fair.
Confusion to the enemy. Are these deliberate giant war hamsters, or are they just
No,
taking along their own accord?
they're just tagging along. I don't know why. Possibly their trainer is one of the soldiers. And the gate is open. Let's see what happens.
The squack gate opens.
Now, I hope my dwarves will stay where they are for a bit and allow the goblins to come through. Goblins are being quite cautious too.
You've seen this gate open before. It's a trap.
Yes. Oh, no, dwarves are charging towards the gate. Right, we're not going to be able to do this in small quantities. Everyone is going to engage in that narrow gap, which ought to be helpful to us. Oh dear, the first dwarf to rush in, I think, immediately got killed. How embarrassing. Yes, that does look like a very bad start to your fight, really. You've got your arm broken, you immediately dropped your weapon, and Yes, well, that's what you get for running in ahead of for a general lack of discipline, I think. Because you do seem to have got quite seriously, yes. And then you passed out from exhaustion. Anyway, things should be a bit more organised now. And that we're all standing in the gateway. Just wondering if any giant hamsters appear in this list. Curiously not. Slightly worried about what's going to happen when this mob of goblins who are carefully hanging back advance. Now here they come. We seem to be more or less holding our line. Look at those goblin archers doing the right thing. This is the ranged weaponry update has definitely improved their tactics here. They're standing at the back while the infantry rush forward and get slaughtered. Or possibly don't.
Are they able to hit you rather than having to shoot through the infantry?
I don't know how well that works, I will admit. I think they are able to try at least. I don't know whether they can accidentally hit their own infantry.
I know that net-hack projectile weapons can definitely hit a thing closer. That wasn't the one you meant. Or indeed further. I think you can miss the thing you aimed at and overshoot.
Well, we can definitely see that they can do that. The iron crossbow bolts flying out the back of the battlefield. Oh dear, I was briefly paused. That was why that... sorry, just feeling slightly sorry for this goblin here, who is the dwarf here, who is the major target of an enormous number of crossbow bolts. Right, and now we've broken their melee line, and sadly they're all jammed up against the edge of the map. There's a couple of fleeing goblins down here. Yes. We'll let them flee. Right. Well, one death due to a dwarf who over-enthusiastically ran in before in front of all of his fellows, or her fellows, I didn't check. But for the most part, I think we can count that a success. Right, cancel all orders. Everyone can come home. Well, all but one of you anyway. Let's have a look through some of the combat logs and see what that looked like. I mean, we could look at it from the point of view of the goblins, but might just be a bit unfortunate. Right, yes, your iron gauntlets don't save you very much when someone can hit your hand with an axe hard enough to tear the muscles behind it. And indeed ligaments and tendons. Actually, that was that was a hack. So the gauntlet survived, but And maybe you weren't wearing suitable headgear given that. And a steel spear makes short work of iron chain leggings, it looks like. So, yes. Oh, right, yes, only a copper helm, which probably won't save you very much. Well, that saves having to dispose of all of the armour that the goblin came in. In that the goblin is, yes, the goblin's armour has mostly been destroyed. So how do things look? What kind of, how much stuff did each of our dwarves end up doing? Or indeed suffering? So quite a lot of, yes, ranged weapon attacks. Some of which even hit. But if you're wearing adequate armour, an arrow is at most a little bit painful rather than like seriously injurious. It looks like most of the goblins, of the like melee goblins, didn't manage to get any attacks in at all. Like, let's look at some of the other goblins because I'm slightly, oh, okay, that one didn't. Okay, some of these messages have already got so many goblins died that we've lost most of their messages. So yes, we are. This goblin hammerman got one swing at the militia captain, missed, and then managed to get his leg broken by someone stabbing it really hard. Oh, I had another try, got blocked. Yeah, did get, that one got through to hitting the dwarf's gauntlet. But that was about it. So, like, yes, it looks like typical goblin managed to get in one or two hits. If the goblins are going to come in from that side, maybe we need to build another railway for disposing of their bodies. Oh, someone's quite badly injured. So you may be the only significantly injured dwarf. We'll have a look. So this is the dwarf who is not well at the moment. So mostly getting missed by goblins. One block there. Another miss. Okay, why are you injured? I can't see anything in there that hurt you. I mean, you did insist on biting the goblin, but that shouldn't, like, have... And yet, yes, your left leg and right arm are both seriously injured. Oh well, I'm sure someone will come and collect you in a moment. Oh, it's an elven caravan. I'm sure they will not find this highly upsetting to visit.
Are elves actually pacifist, or is it only non-sentient animals they're objective?
They're not really very pacifist. No, they will attack us if they want to.
I suppose if the not any non-sentient animals with them, then you have to kill them too.
Have you just got badly hurt, or are you like just always like this? None of the messages we can see look like they might have hurt you, but... Okay, we've lost that message. We should have a look and see what's going on with the strange mood. Okay, so you've apparently got hurt. But are able to get yourself back to the fortress under your own power. Except you can't work out how to go down the stairs, apparently. Ah, well done. Probably because there's an enormous crowd of dwarves trying to get in. What are your injuries like? Slightly sore hair, mostly. Light bruising of the upper spine. Hair torn apart. Head skin infected. Yeah, you probably do want, like, at least get your head washed. Since, after all, we do have soap. Okay, whoever was there has either been collected or has moved themselves. Right, let's find that strange mood. Yeah, that's perfectly ordinary mood. Aha. You look strange. Right, let's work out what you're missing then. You have rock, this is all scrolling weirdly, gem, brick, rock blocks, logs, rock blocks, tanned hides, rock blocks. How many rock blocks? Rock blocks, stone boulders, cut gems, rock blocks. So I think your problem is that we've run out of wood. Well, I'm sure the elves will not object to me chopping down a tree just after they arrive. Let's chop down a tree somewhere on the other side of the map.
Chop down the one that dwarf might have got stuck in. Then nobody else will get stuck in it. You can spin it as a safety.
Oh yes. There is still a dead body at the top of that tree. Let's cut it down to get the body out. I'm just like setting all this lot up while I'm paying attention to it. No, that's not helpful. I mean, I mostly started catching wild animals in order to avoid them getting chopped up into tiny little pieces that we then had to dispose of. But now what we end up with instead, I'm now slightly worried that I might be selecting objects that actually belong to the caravan. Oh well, we'll see how they react. But instead now we end up with a bunch of like I can be confident that the metal cages weren't brought by the caravan. We end up with now with an enormous quantity of weird tame animals instead, which I'm not sure is a great improvement. Just observing elf in the pending butchery stockpile. Right, a bit more building going on there in order to seal up some gaps. Let's just fetch some bins that look like they might contain something saleable. Do our usual thing of mostly selling them old clothes, because those it's not too hard to pick out the elf safe clothes from the elf unsafe clothes. Right. That's probably enough. We do try to capture rather than killing the birds, but yeah, to be fair, that's still not very successful. Okay, I somehow selected 11 items to move, which is probably more than is necessary. Has that got suspended? No, okay. I just need to be a bit more patient. Possibly because everyone has 15 zillion other jobs to do now. Still, I think that widening the ramps was not too horrible a process. So let's try doing the same thing here. So we'll remove that and dig out that and put another ramp there. And then obviously for that to work, we'll also need to dig out that square and dig downwards in that square. So, I presume a woodcutter. I presume we've got some woodcutters and they haven't all died. Yes. Someone will get round to it eventually. I'm not going to worry about this. I think there's only one corpse in that pile of miasma. Have a couple of dwarves lying around in the hospital. Let's see if things are actually happening there. Yes, good. Right, your left hand was hurt as well, was it? Right. Well, presumably, are you now waiting for diagnosis, or are you just not bothering to do anything? Well, I don't really mind if you spend a while in the hospital. Right, yes, and we've actually worked out you need to be thinged and was named. Only need one item, so let's summon the broker so that we can attempt some trading. I assume that giant roaches are not valuable creatures. That broker is on their way.
I'm sure I've asked this before, but I assume when it says giant roach, it refers to the insect, not the fish.
I believe so, yes. Yes, I think the giant roach is an insect. We saw them flying earlier anyway, so I hope they're insects.
It's actually a really big version of the horse from which Geralt's horse was called.
Right, you're busy training a giant hamster. Right, I think that's the broker arriving. Let's see if they've got anything we want at all. Usually we like their animals. They've brought another grizzly bear. Yes, please. That's quite expensive. Let's not give them llama wool or swan leather, or alpaca wool or sheep wool. Rope breed's okay. Pigtail socks okay. More rope breed socks. Pigtail shoe. Leather, wool, leather, leather, wool, wool. Rope breed. Rope breed. Rope breed trousers. Rope breed cloak. Pigtail right glove. Another pigtail right glove. And some pigtail trousers. A pigtail sock and a pigtail shirt. Pigtail left glove. Oh right, that's enough profit, right. Let us trade for one grizzly bear. Yes, good. I'm doing this in bits, partly so that to minimise the amount of stuff I don't get when I screw it up. Do we want a dingo? I think we should definitely get a grey parrot. Plus that's quite cheap. We can get that for a couple of socks. Did go and scroll this all the way back up to the top. That was slightly annoying. Anyway, pigtail sock. Right, yes, one sock gets us a tame grey parrot. Do we want a tame dingo? I don't think a tame dingo is particularly useful. Like a parrot might at least be in, but maybe there's someone in the court who likes dingoes. In the fortress. I'm getting my games confused. Right, we just reached the bottom of the first bin. Rami is a kind of a plant, isn't it?
That's what I was just confused by that.
Rope reed also. This is mostly a bin of new socks. Far more new socks than we need, really, but possibly we may have accidentally had a runaway sock manufacturing incident. Well, some of them are silk socks rather than wool socks. Outright, we've reached the end of socks. And a rope reed right glove. Right, we now own a dingo as well. I don't understand vermin in cages, so I'm not going to even try to get those. We don't want to buy our socks back. We don't really need extra clothes, we've probably got enough. They do tend to bring different fruit that we don't otherwise have. So even though we've got plenty of food, let us buy some fruit. Don't trust that rope reed hood. Oh yes. Oh, it's decorated. Who knows what it got decorated with? It's probably okay because it probably bought from the elves. Let's be optimistic. If we don't get any fruit, we don't get any fruit. Rope breed glove, rope breed sock, pigtail, rope breed, pigtail.
That's a lot.
That's enough, yes. We don't need acorns. We have plenty of acorns. Right, that'll do. Release the broker. I don't think any goblins got caught in cage traps that time, because the fundamentally they didn't make it through the gate before they before we engaged them. So we're still waiting for that to be built. Then we can build that, which will make the ramp work again. Still waiting for 2 squares of wall there to be built. Problem is that all the dwarves are probably now shifting dead goblins around. Alright, this area's been cleared though. So now we can go build a ramp there. Why have we got bituminous coal blocks? I don't know. Fill in the corners. And then we'll put those 2 in, and then we can dig out that and relay it. This will not be too unpleasant. Just looking at these and checking that all of the tracks join up properly. It's that one that's wrong, right, okay. Right, this lot's now mostly built. We just need to put the last bits of wall in here. And here. This layer. We need a wall there. It's only once that one's in place that we can then reinstate that wall. That is actually a wall, it's just so full of blood you can't see what it is. Right, yes, so let's have a quick look for things that want dumping here. I'm going to assume that dingo nails cannot actually be butchered on their own. Don't seem to be lots of people hauling the dead goblins yet, which is possibly for the best. That looks like that's someone doing it. Just tidying things up a bit again, marking empty cages for removal. Possibly we need a stockpile of empty cages so that they don't get stuck down here. See, we could just allow this stockpile to take empty cages, couldn't we? That'd be good. Would it fill up? Maybe it will fill up with empty cages, and we want it to be filled up with full cages. Let's make a new stockpile for empty cages. That was not the right button. That might help a bit. Right, another bit of wall got built here, so we can build the final piece. On that layer. That one's already scheduled for building, it just has to happen. And then those will be properly sealed off such that they don't leak. And this one, now we have the second ramp. So that's a perfectly usable ramp. That means that we can remove that square. That wall there is probably kind of unnecessary, but we'll leave it there anyway.
Good night.
That does mean we do have to do things a little bit slowly. Because I shouldn't actually have dug out that section. Right, and because this is the upper level, I don't need to worry about the upper level of this aquifer. I don't need to worry about water leaking through the ceiling. Good. Once that square is removed, I can put a wall in there, and then we will have. Well, then we can, yes, remove that square, wall in there, wall in there. And then that will seal off all of that area, and then we can check the track is like continuous and stuff. Is that square getting filled in? Hurrah! It's a very dirty track square, isn't it? I suppose for simplicity we could just have a minecart track that just connects up this stockpile to like a stockpile outside these gates for which contains all of the goblin parts that are outside the gate. The only slight fiddliness being getting through the gate safely. I suppose actually we could have the minecart track end just on this side of the gate with the stockpile on that side of the gate. That would work, wouldn't it? Obviously that's quite a lot of track to build. Right, now that wall is complete, so the water should stop leaking in. This lot should all, in due course, dry out. So now let's, that wall still isn't built. That wall now needs to be built. So yeah, that layer is still not right, but this one I think we can now try to work out whether there are any discontinuities. And we know that there are. Because that one is wrong. So now we can try removing that east-west track there and then seeing what we can replace it with. And seeing if on the next level down we can then install some carved track and then lay the copper track over the top of it. That's the plan. Right, in order to stop too many goblins being moved, I am going to create an addition, because I think we need to do a sensible goblin transporting job here. I will declare, how much space do you think the goblins need? They weren't that big a mob of goblins, were they? Make it about that big. That will now, I will now declare to be a goblin corpse stockpile. So that goblin corpses found on that side of the map can be put in that stockpile rather than being hauled up to the one in the middle, and then we'll in due course construct a railway to move goblin parts from one stockpile to the other. What's that you're moving? It's a giant roach, I'm sure it's no use at all, dump it. No, I told you to dump it, what are you doing? I have forbidden the corpse, put it down. Okay, apparently even forbidding it won't cause the dwarf to actually put the silly thing down. Right. Why are there non-empty things being put in my empty cages stockpile, eh? I mean, happily the empty cages have been put there as well, so it's not as bad as it could be, but oops. What's happened to that one? Is that still being waited for? No, it somehow got suspended. Oh, Stoat. Select material. There, right. That's everything but. There's a raven. Right, that's all the occupied cages scheduled for construction, I think. Right, now we just want to also build a wall here. We seem, oh right, we accidentally demolished the entire ramp there. So now let's try ramp carving mode, starting from there and going to there. See if someone actually comes and carves a suitable ramp for us. Not ramp, track. Dear, is there still something rotting there that's not marked for disposal? That's marked for disposal. That's marked for disposal, just no one's getting round to it. Okay. Looks like the bits of goblin are being slowly tidied up into their proper rectangle here.
So getting the troops in after a war as Venice is really annoying.
Why did you not put that in like the nearest square in the stockpile? What are you doing? Why are you running around? Are you having fun? Yes, apparently. Possibly you saw something scary up there, I don't know. No one has done any carving of tracks yet down there. I mean, I suppose I could just build the track instead, now that we've cut it back. That might be simpler. Rather, we could cut that, remove that square and then build track in its place. But we've now scheduled some... Okay, let's remove all of our possible track carving orders. And instead construct the track, because I think that's a less confusing experience. But if we're going to demolish that section, which I think we have to, do we? What happens if I construct a ramp there? and then construct some track on top of it. We will get this sorted eventually, probably quite soon, if the dwarves don't get too distracted. How did that dog end up in a cage? I'm pretty sure we didn't just buy a dog in a cage. So I think it must have been... must have like randomly stumbled into a cage trap or something. Which they're not meant to, but like if they get surprised they might. Right, so all being well, someone will build that ramp and then I can try to work out how to build some track to go with it. Yes, here's someone building the ramp. So the problem now is that that ramp is... So that says blocked at this location, right. So that might mean we have to demolish that ramp. So if we're going to have to do that, that means we want to make a ramp there, downward ramp there, so that we have two ramps between these two layers, yes. That's not going to take long to do. Well, okay, as long as a miner does actually like turn up. Where is the water coming into here from then? Is it? Oh right, it's that layer, yes. Possibly we could arrange that we don't have water slowly leaking into here. I mean, that would be might be a bit radical. Right, so now we could safely remove that track, which is not quite in the right shape, leaving that ramp for getting out. Then we could build a new ramp in there, which doesn't yet have a track on it. Meanwhile, let's do something about stopping leaks there, because it's just kind of annoying. then, yes, we learn to build more track. Actually, let's put a wall in there. For variety, let's make that one out of porcelain. I think. No, that's a bad idea. Porcelain is no use for this job. Well, I mean, it'll work, but it's an expensive material for what I'm doing. Right, so now we have ramps all the way down to there. That one is an east-west ramp, so now what we can do is... Actually, I'm about to do something that's going to block this one temporarily. So let's extend our widening 1 square further in case that's useful, but we don't need to wait for that. Like, that's mostly in case I block things off. So let's find the highest point we want to build track from. Oh no, I'm already, let's start at the top. So track to there, that's perfectly good east-west track. There is no track on that square, so we want to start building on that square. You go down to that level. Down to that level. I can't build down to that level, so we'll build horizontally to there. And then we'll say, actually, don't build that one. Okay, that does actually mean I don't need that digging because the track, we won't actually ever build the track that would get in the way. Right, so building track, we can see what's being built. I think those damp walls are just because there's water in the way. Right, all that digging has got done. This is the slightly more minimal approach to walling things off, because actually the corners can't leak anyway. So it's a bit pointless walling them in. The dwarves still trying to shuffle dead goblins into their correct places. Not too far, not shuffling them very far, mind, but still takes a bit of time to tidy things up like that. No, somewhere that dog cage is right, yes. Release the spare grizzly bear. And we can, I think, start going through our animal list and marking things as pet capable. So we should mark the dingo as available to be a pet in case someone turns out to like dingoes, and kiwis and wombats. and the grey parrot. What have we done with the previous grizzly bear? Well, we trained the previous one for war, didn't we? Let's train this one for war as well. If I can find it. There. War. Right. Then we can look at the others that are caged. And think about giving them trainers. And we will have like a vast quantity of pet ravens. Which will be amusing. Actually, mostly peregrines, because peregrines appear to be the thing that we get lots of. A different cloud of miasma. I think it is. Densest there, yes. Right. We're mostly waiting for minecart track construction, it looks like. Doesn't look like it's got weirdly suspended. So it may just be a case of waiting a bit. Oh, hang on, what's going on there? That square already appears to have some track on it, so I think we can cancel that one. Yes. That one needs track building though. Right, so let that go again. Kind of getting the feeling that people come down here, move one or two bits of goblins and then wander off again, which is not very efficient.
Maybe they just don't like moving goblin bits.
It's possible. What are you butchering anyway? Is it anything I care about? Oh, no, you're... Okay, I think you were butchering a giant Kia, which is not very useful, but whatever. We can at least make some leather out of it since it was butchered fresh. Dwarves suspended construction of wall, did they? Not any of those walls. I think those were the only... Oh, there was some wall down there. Did that not quite work then? Yes, resume that one. Otherwise, water will continue leaking in there. That's almost fully walled off now. Then that will stop this water slowly leaking out into the stockpile below. Right, so that should stop that leaking. Right, that looks like that ramp has now been completed. Let's check it. So essentially we want to go for each square, make sure it is labelled. That one is correct. That one wants to be south and west. Then all the rest should be labelled east and west. East, west, east, west. East, west. East, west, east, west. Right, so now I think that's all connected up. Right, so now I think we could set up a route. Indeed, I think we have a route which says you start from the bottom and push east. Okay, guide east immediately. Of course, someone has managed to leave a glove in the door, but so the only danger is that that minecart might be moved the wrong way. Can we deassign and reassign the minecart, or otherwise cause it to be marked as wants to be at the start rather than wants to be at the end? Because the last thing we want is for the dwarves to pick the minecart up and try to haul it to the emptying point. So let's just try. So, which is the steel minecart it has assigned? It doesn't have any minecart assigned. Because I probably have to unforbid it first. Pause. Unforbid the minecart. Right, that's moved it back to the start. The assigned vehicle wants to be at this stop, but is not currently there. So then a worker should come and push it to that stop. Let's also see if we can organise someone to dump that glove, because it's kind of in the way at the moment. Unfortunately, push track vehicle is quite a low priority usually. Indeed, in this case, like haul track vehicle or whatever the task is called. There are a lot of items being moved around in general. Oh no, someone is actually trying to do a place track vehicle job. It is just quite a long walk. If we're lucky, that same person will then go, oh, there's another job to do here, which is pushing that minecart all the way up the ramp. If we're really lucky, it'll like be correct. Maybe I should have a quick look at the settings of that. So the rules are guide east immediately when full. Yes, that looks pretty good. Wondering how the magma stays hot all the time. Maybe it's just really rather radioactive. So all being well, you'll haul that minecart around to the start, carefully spending as little time as possible on the minecart track, which is, yes, good. Right. Ah, and you've now picked up that object. Does that mean the door is now closed? All right, that door isn't yet connected to the mechanisms. Okay. Well, let's let the minecart run once, and then we'll connect the door to a mechanism. I mean, strictly, if people are careful enough, that wouldn't be a problem. Like, I can just forbid and unforbid the door in the right timings. Right. So that's all very well. Let's see if someone is coming to actually push the minecart now. They are. Or at least they're coming to push a minecart. It's probably the correct minecart. Is there anyone actually cutting that tree down? Still no one cutting that tree down. I'm kind of worried. I'm worried about our poor, moody dwarf. To the extent that I might see if there's some like wooden objects I can demolish to get some spare logs in a way that doesn't require cutting down a tree. I don't want to demolish those because they're useful ramps though. Many of the wooden things I built are kind of slightly, at least slightly useful. I mean, there is the roller coaster, but even that feels like it should be useful, even if it's not useful right now. Like, apparently no one actually feels that cutting trees down is a high priority.
Have the dwarves accidentally contracted ecology?
Don't think so.
Just the usual disorganisation.
Yes.
Why has my most serene highness declared a holy war on someone?
Right, so dwarf on his way, or her on her way down. So the magma mines. Is pleased, rather curious, relieved by the fact that there's water leaking into this staircase. Apparently descending a dripping wet staircase is cheering for dwarves. So now I don't actually know if this works with the door like that. No. Are you now hauling the minecart to the correct location? No, stop, stop, stop. You're now doing place track vehicle again. No, that's not right. I think the door caused trouble. Right, we need to get the door operating correctly then. I think you can't push a minecart through a closed door, even if it's closed in a... Even if you could walk through it. So... Put that minecart back where it belongs. Put it down. Don't store it in a stockpile, that's an even worse idea. Right. Let's unforbid the minecart again. I think it should now get put back at the start. Meanwhile, let's connect that lever up. Oh good, we're installing an artifact mechanism at the target, and obviously an artifact mechanism, I think all artifacts are intrinsically magma safe. Let's find out if that's true. I suppose it shouldn't matter, because when that door's closed, I think it will not be harmed by magma. Still no migrants. And when that door's open, there really shouldn't be magma flowing through it. Right, now let's temporarily forbid the minecart while we get the door linked up. Meanwhile, dwarves are now tidying up the goblin bits here, that's nice, but we should then build a railway for them. And since our railway building dwarves aren't doing anything else at the moment, just build an awful lot of railway. And we can draw it diagonally, but that feels like a really weird thing to do with the railway. I'm kind of going to go in orthogonal lines until we have gone, well, possibly too far. And really, we want this, actually, yes, we could run it all the way around to there. Can we make that not do something quite so weird? No, okay. Right, well, that's a lot of track. That's probably going to tie up the dwarves quite some time. And we've started it just inside the gate. I think we'll start with guiding this, and then if it seems to work, then we might switch to pushing later. Just having a quick look at these cages to see if anything's managed to get trained while we weren't looking. It doesn't look like it. There are a bunch of cages that can at least be removed because they're empty. Right. All right, of course, there are animals wandering over the cage stockpile. That's why there's cage. That's why there appear to be animals in the cage stockpile occasionally. Right, we've started building this new section of railway at least. So, meanwhile, that task is still waiting. Oh, and suspended. Unsuspend. Did something happen? Right, someone just got interrupted. That's fine. Oh, we're getting baby giant hamsters. Only they're not baby, are they? That's the problem. We get adult giant hamsters, so they don't come out fully domesticated. Fully tame, rather. And then we have to make sure someone does keep training them, because otherwise they'll lose their training. We might have enough giant hamsters now. So someone is trying to sort out linking that lever up. Oh, someone's storing an item in a tomb. No, that doesn't mean that bridge has been cut down. That tree has been cut down. We're like going, what things are reasonably harmless to remove? Oh, that pillar is almost certainly doing nothing useful. That pillar is necessary to make that ramp work, but that pillar provides a tiny useless bit of floor there. Right, let's demolish that pillar in order to get some logs for our poor moody dwarf. Then I hope someone is busy linking up that lever. He's still active, so that looks good. Oh, I was paused. No wonder nothing was happening. It's like CK2 in that respect. You see everything is still animated even when it's paused, so it's hard to tell that it's actually paused.
Yeah, I do find that very annoying in CK2. It makes it very hard to work out what is going on.
An animal has become a stray war grizzly bear. Don't get war bears in CK2.
You might do if you're Norwegian.
Stray mongoose brackets tame. Yes, really, we have tame mongooses in this fortress now. Bet you're butchering a thing I don't care about again, aren't you? Despite my best efforts. Oh no, you're butchering an agitated giant dingo head, which is actually a thing that I want butchered. Hurrah. Right. Okay, you've collected one mechanism, I think. Now you're going all the way back up to find another mechanism. Even though there was a spare one lying around down there, that's not very helpful, you know. That pillar got demolished. Did it suddenly get grabbed by the correct person, or has it wandered off in the wrong direction? Let's see where that log is. If we can find the one log that isn't built into something, which might not be very easy. No. One of those logs is the one we just produced. Let's go and find our moody dwarf and see how they're feeling. Are they actually still hiding in their workshop, or have they come out and gone, wow, it's an object. Oh, that looks good. Definitely spotted an object you're interested in, haven't you? Felt self-pity after being unable to practice a craft for too long. She'll presumably now stop feeling like that if she manages to engage in some what? You can't go mad while you're going to collect the object. That's just silly. The object existed. Oh dear, we've lost another dwarf to madness caused by an extended strange mood, even though she was in the process of collecting the object that would allow her to complete the thing.
I think I'll go with the traditional cry of dwarves. Hey. Anyway, since my liege died during his holy war and I was his successor,
That got suspended again.
his holy war goes to plan.
I mean, I hope this linking item to trigger is getting gradually closer to being complete, even though people keep getting interrupted by wild animals while doing it. Right, back down, someone goes to attempt the linkage. Which is a long way down. And apparently now you have to come back up again, presumably to get another part. Because of course it's only when you get all the way down there that you realise that the part you needed is somewhere up at the top. So we'll go all the way back up again. Still, you're getting lots of exercise, I'm sure that's good for you. That's an odd route. Where are you going? Where does that staircase go? Okay. And now you got distracted because you came out onto the surface and encountered some kind of wild animal which scared you. Okay, do we have a problem that this job is fundamentally difficult to complete because there are wild animals in the wrong places or something? Like because everyone who tries to undertake the job comes up here, meets something scary, whatever the hell the scary thing is, and runs away. And possibly we could lock this floor hatch. Let's try locking that floor hatch. I don't think it's strictly necessary. As in, I don't think this floor hatch is strictly necessary. I think everywhere you can get to like that, you can get to by other routes as well. Right, here's someone else trying to do it. This time with that floor hatch locked, which might force the routing to something a bit safer. Though given where that machinery stockpile is, maybe there's a bit of a problem there anyway. And we need to move the machinery stockpile, the mechanism stockpile a bit. Down, 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 down. Stare hard at that. Back up again. Now this time, let's see what route you take and whether you can avoid getting scared. way back up. Up, 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 up. You took a different route. Good, right. You're not going through the drainage system this time. It's a longer walk, but might be a less frightening one. Might be. Still busy linking, good. There are some existing conflicts around you, but don't get distracted by them. Be cheered by the waterfall. Thank you. Part of the problem here is that this is just such a long job. There's so much you have to walk through. Right. Can you make it out to that stockpile and back without anything exciting happening to you? Right, you have picked up a copper mechanisms. You seem to be quite strong. You're carrying that quite effectively. Right, you should now be able to make it all the way back down again without anything going wrong, because there isn't usually anything dangerous in the fortress itself. So I will stop watching you and just check that these dead birds are indeed meant to be being dumped, even if no one's actually doing it yet. And yeah, the building of this railway track is going all right. Let's add a stop that dumps southwards there, so that then that can then be used. That will then dump the goblin parts right next to the other mine cart that will then be used to haul them elsewhere. I.e. into the rubbish dump. How's our linking dwarf getting on? Right, back down. Right, does that mean that's linked now? Or did you just get scared again? Right, that's linked, so now we should be able to pull that lever. Go on, you should be the one who pulls it. You're really close to it. Good. And then that should cause that door to open. Okay, maybe it needs pulling again. Maybe it was in the wrong state. We now know a few facts about wombat and raven training. Right, the door is open. Let us unforbid the minecart. Someone is going to push the vehicle. Someone completely inappropriately located. Someone who appears to be in the midst of an enormous crowd of giant hamsters. Someone who's moving very slowly. Because they're badly injured. Ability to stand lost. I mean, can't see the injury that's causing you to be unable to stand, but possibly it's like a spine injury or something. Your neck bears the mark of old wounds. Yes, maybe that's it. Actually, you're just a terrible person to do this, because you're going to be this slow pushing it as well.
How long will it take? Like 24 hours to charge?
Well, then, no,
I'm going to remove you from this job and hope that someone else can do it instead, if I can. No, there isn't a remove person from job button. Well, let's just forbid the minecart and unforbid it and see if someone more useful can take the task on, please. Like, ideally someone with working legs. That's better speed. Down, 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 down. Right, will this work? What? Okay, what happened there? Job item lost or destroyed? What? No, look, it's there. It's a minecart.
Is there can you get to it still, or have you accidentally, blocked off the path to it with lava, water,
Don't think so.
goblins, or other states? Because that's the only other way I can think you can lose something.
I mean, the dwarf got to the minecart, touched it, and then decided it had been lost or destroyed.
Like mine can't still go on its wheels.
Yes, and it's on a track. And like, if they don't think the tracks connect, I don't think their behaviour is just to abandon the thing. I think it's to push it. It's to either push it along the track as far as they can, or just pick it up and carry it. Both of which
It should be able to.
shouldn't require abandoning it wherever it is.
I shall just put it down to the general perversity of dwarves and say newt stream.
I'm working my way along this track, checking that all the directions are right and that all of the track actually exists.
Clean towels.
I mean, I might worry that the minecart was too hot or something, except that they were quite happy to carry it around. So I don't think that can be it. Sorry, this is a bit slow, but I do want to make sure that we really have got all the track in place. Oh, we're missing some track here. We've got muddy sandstone upward track there, but that ramp is just a muddy rough sandstone block upward slope. Let's not try to carve it, let's try to do this by building track if we can. Which is probably best done by like building a parallel ramp and right, everyone is disappearing. Tough, I'm going to finish this. So that square's fine. That's the square we need to change. So that's interesting. We get a must remove construction message there. Which is weird. Just making myself a bit more space to work in. Suspend the middle two bits of that wall until the outer two bits are built. make ourselves a parallel ramp there for access so that it doesn't matter if we break something. So that's an upward track, and we can build on top of it. Down to there, right? Okay, this may not actually be too hard. I think I might just have been doing things in the wrong direction. Then we can cancel that square and that square. Just leave that square to be installed. Right, maybe this will work. Someone has to now haul a load of copper all the way down here to minus 21, but that should be fine. Mostly they need to consider this a slightly higher priority than building all this track, but almost all this track's built now. Actually, it's probably the case that any that are unbuilt have got suspended because someone got interrupted by the wildlife. Okay, not all of them, but those two were. See lots of people walking across here with bundles of copper bars. You just need one of them to go down and do the other bit of track building. So yes, this is a problem with guide mode. If we'd been doing that in push mode, then the... just spotted someone disappearing down the this tunnel with a bundle of copper bars in their hands. If we'd been doing this in push mode, then this would have been less of a problem. Because the minecart would just be able to skate over a small gap in the track work. Right, let's allow these walls to be built before we start moving minecarts. Actually, no, let's not. Don't care. Where's the minecart got to? I thought I forbade it. Now we've lost it. Well, I mean, we haven't lost it, but it's almost certainly in a stupid place. Someone is carrying it all the way up the stairs. I mean, they've almost got it to the surface now. This is not a sensible way to move a minecart full of magma.
I'm not sure it's sensible to have a couple of magma in the first place.
Shush. Especially not when you're surrounded by tame grizzly bears and giant hamsters. Because you're Sodil Atirog, animal trainer, so all the animals like you. and get in the way. Yeah, I think that was our... Oh, someone found drowned. How did you get there? Maybe we only just looked there or something. Are you... No. Possibly you were the dwarf who suffered a strange mood. Let's have a look. And then went mad as a result of not being able to fulfill it. No, this is the one who suffered the strange mood and is going to die from madness. This is someone who's just somehow fallen in the river. Well, that was stupid of you. Were you in a fight or something? Mistem Abanshukar. Don't think so. Oh, there we are. No, Mr. Mabanshukar. Not recently, but possibly you got into a fight? Sodal Atarog is slowly hauling this minecart up the stairs, repeatedly interrupted by animals. This would be a faster process, Sodal, if you didn't have quite so many grizzly bears following you around. Because each time you try to move a square, something gets in your way. Possibly I should just forbid and unforbid the minecart to get someone who isn't so tangled up with animals to do it. Yeah, let's try it. Okay, we've got someone a bit slower. This might be its own kind of problem. I mean, I suppose we could assign a different minecart to the task, but just leave this one parked somewhere. Somewhere down here there's a staircase. No, you're getting tangled up with a pig. Stop getting tangled up with the pig. Right, we're almost at the surface, but still a slightly long way to go. I'm now worried if walking through the waterfall will cause the magma to suddenly solidify. Don't think it will. This is a rather crowded corridor. Heave! Oh, someone's finally disposing of some dead animals. That's good. Oh, I'm a bit worried by the presence of a small tree in the... it's only a cranberry plant, maybe it'll be okay. In the mist generator. It does look like the mist generator's still functioning though, so... Come on, you can make it to the surface. It's getting more and more crowded though as you get out there. Come along. Meanwhile, almost all of this track is built. There's rather a lot of stuff on this track, but if people can work out how to shift it, that will be fine. Apparently people are bringing goblin parts in from somewhere further up north to this stockpile now. Oh, the magma minecart is on the surface and being hauled very slowly across it. I think some people are coming out here to bolt down these last bits of copper track. Right, that's that one done. So that one still needs to be resumed. Right, so just need to wait a bit. Here's our minecart. Nearly there. All right, are these? Oh, right, yes, these stockpiles are no longer. That stockpile was set to no longer collect things. Oh, for heaven's sake! A new Var Force of Darkness has turned up. I mean, they don't need won't need much dissuasion because they're a small one, but one of them's fallen into a cage trap. Two of them have fallen into cage traps. Actually, we're not even going to bother trying to raise this drawbridge. Okay, I fear our war grizzly bear may drown. Unlike this militia captain who knows how to swim. Right, that's the siege over with. I mean, the bear isn't drowning yet, but it is in terror. It is terrified. Meanwhile, the minecart has been delivered. And there is now a small amount of lava down there. Now, all being well, for its return journey, it can actually be guided. Right, what happened there? What's going on with the minecart now? Where is the minecart task? We've got a place track vehicle task again. It's still not working right. And sadly, now that it's at the wrong end of the track, so that means we missed and it will have to get carried down, but at least it's a lot lighter this time. Right, let us recheck from where we were. because I didn't actually carry on all the way. I just assumed that all the rest of it would be fine. Which, to be fair, it does appear to be. So there's some utter embarrassment, like I've got the movement at the end wrong. Yes. That should be guide west immediately. That was why it couldn't go that way. Right. Meanwhile, how about we... oh, this lot isn't finished yet. Come on, people. Come and finish constructing these tracks. Someone coming to construct one of them at least. Ah, and constructing a few more, looks like. It does involve moving a lot of items out of the way. Right, there we go. Okay, now we're just waiting for that square. I think this dwarf may actually be doing. Let's start setting that up then. I may as well use a wooden minecart for that. So that won't take very long to get into place. Meanwhile, how are we doing at... Seems to be a fairly slow and unhappy minecart hauler. Oh, I'll be happy if we can get at least one of these minecart routes working, and the other one has a much lighter minecart. But then it will take a little while to fill, so we might not actually get to see it in use. Yeah, not surprising. Died of not being able to find enough wood. Right, so I think now we have the simple problem that someone is very slowly hauling a minecart all the way down to the lava mines because the instructions were wrong, and rather than going, we can't push it that way, there's no track that way, they went, well, we can't push it that way, we'll have to carry it instead, which is really unhelpful. So I don't think I really have the patience to wait for that. And I don't think this minecart is going to get filled anytime soon, because I think we have too many other things going on. Oh, on which subject? Release the military from that last siege, you idiot. More things will happen if we do that. I don't think that that minecart is going to get downstairs anytime very soon. And so I think I need to go to bed, because otherwise I'm just going to be sitting here waiting for a minecart to be shifted, unless like it's suddenly got much faster. You're going very slowly. You're not as annoying as the animal trainer, but... So, yes, I think we will wind up for tonight, and next time... I mean, we did successfully move some lava up to some magma up to the surface. Like, it's there. It's not deep enough to actually operate a magma smelter, but it's there. It's just going to take a little while before we're in a position to do the next batch. Because the minecart is currently at elevation -16 and it needs to get down to -118. And that one, well, it needs to be filled up, and that's going to take a while. once it is filled up, then it will probably operate correctly. I mean, that one we can see it's all connected correctly. But let's just double check the directions of that one. So it's east at the fill end and west at the empty end, which is how it's organised, yes. And actually, the other one should be exactly the same. East at the fill end and west at the empty end. Good. Okay, so yes, that's going to take too long. So I think I will now save, return to the title menu and say good night. Good night.